Welcome to the Music Reel. I'm your host, Nicola Burton. I have got Pixie with me today, who's the owner of the iconic Queensland venue, the Zoo. How you doing?
I am good.
It's so good to hear from you today because let's go straight into it. What happened this morning?
Probably maybe about 6 minutes ago, we've just had some news that we can stand up at live gigs. Apparently, it's so fresh, but and it's so funny that we're all so excited about such a small thing that should be part of live music. But yeah, we're still nutting out the details. But apparently, you can wiggle your hips, but you can't dance. You can't be close to people. But anyway, but that's exciting, nonetheless.
That is fantastic. But of course, that means some pretty major changes to you guys with your COVID safe policy, what you do with your security. Where do you start with that?
I have no idea.
Good answer. And look, venues across Queensland are all going, okay, this is great, but what are we going to do? So, this is 2020. So let's go back to March for you. What was it like when March happened and for the first time in history, you couldn't open? What was it like?
It's been a very windy year for everyone, I think. Personally, I was living in Sydney, actually. I'd just gotten my dream job doing A&R, so the Zoo was fully booked out. I was on cloud 9 and my life was set. But, 8 weeks later, lost job, venue shut, bookings disappeared. On government money for the first time in my whole life. Like, I've never had Centrelink. I've never been on any sort of government support. So I didn't feel really good. I didn't feel very good about March. So yeah, the whole industry was annihilated. I remember the day, really. And it was so surreal. Like, I have to get goosebumps thinking about it. It was just this weird moment where everything you'd worked for was just totally gone and taken out of your control, and there was literally nothing you could do. So I think the only comfort was that I wasn't alone, and there were a lot of other people. The whole industry was in the same boat.
And now we've had a little bit of an opening in July, obviously. So between July and October, what's it been like for you guys? We still had limited restrictions. How's it been at the box office?
It's been also quite interesting to watch the tickets and their movements over the last few months. So obviously July we opened the day we opened, and we're reduced to 100 people, which is significantly below what we can have. Like, we're operating, we usually have around 500, so we're operating at 100, so well below a quarter capacity. Initially tickets, we were doing about 600 a week, which is, great. It was what we could physically fit. And that was really awesome. So we did about 600 tickets a week in July. August, it's dropped down to about 300. September, 200. In October, we're looking between, 100, 0 to 100 again. So yeah, it has had that pretty steep decline. And that's probably for a number of reasons. Everyone was really excited to get out. So that snapped up the tickets initially, and then people have bought their tickets. The dispensable income's not high, and we are working off a pretty small pool of artists in Brisbane, obviously because the borders are shut, and we did need to implement a $40 spend initially to try and cover our costs to survive, because a lot of people don't realize, but we make all our money through the bar. So we don't actually take any ticket money, especially like now. We've tried to set up a model so the band takes 100% of the door. But by us relying on 100 people buying at the bar, that doesn't really give us much financial viability.
No, it's not enough, is it? So what do you guys need right now? Look, we've got good news today, but is that going to be enough to actually return your business to pre-COVID levels?
What's been really helpful for us through this time, and ideally moving forward, is JobKeeper. That's been absolutely paramount to us staying open and giving the staff an income. That saved us, as well as our rent being supplemented. So our rent being reduced has really helped us as well. And that's not the end all answer. Our landlord still needs to, we're renting a space, so that's not a long-term solution. Look, rent and government support and the grants, we were a recipient of a couple of grants, which were amazing. But I mean, that just came down to covering the cost of reopening. We spent $8,000 on tables and chairs just to, that we probably don't need as of today. So it's just, you know, it's just that money's gone into, like, we had bills that continued. I think the best way to describe where we're sitting is we're just idling. I mean, we're still burning fuel, but we're not moving forward.
So can the government do any more to help venues like yours? I mean, can you imagine the music industry, Pixie, without the iconic zoo? It just wouldn't happen in Queensland. So, you know, exactly. So we've got to keep venues like yours alive. So what do you need in order to recover from this? And not just recover, but, you know, future-proof. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like music gets lost a lot in these big conversations. I mean, we got shoved in with the transport department or something. Like, that's, to me in itself, is a little, I feel like that's a little disrespectful to what we actually are. It's just not, I don't know. We need real attention and people to actually listen to us, because that hasn't happened for a while. I think it's starting to, maybe, like the noise, we're making noise. We have to make noise, you know, like, I don't understand how they can have 15,000 people at a football game, but we aren't even allowed 100 people. I was watching it last night, the AFL, and there was no social distancing there. Like, and that's 15. They're like, oh, we have to cap it at 15,000. I'm like, I know it's outside, but, like, come on, we've got 100 people in here. That's it. Like, it's not realistic. And comments like, oh, we're letting AFL in and we're letting movie stars in because that brings money to the economy. I'm like, well, so do musicians. Like, I think there needs to be some creative thinking about how they can directly support musicians. I don't know what it is, whether it's like COVID clearance so they can tour. Like, maybe it's getting a COVID certificate saying I'm free of COVID. Like, sex workers have that, you know, that they can work, they get show they're COVID safe and they can work, similar to a musician.
Good idea.
Yeah, something like that. But I guess long term, just support with fees and, like, licensing fees, and, like, a landlord. It would be nice for our landlord to have some supplement, because our rent's our biggest thing, really, and our liquor licensing fees and stuff. So
exactly, because, like, all of these sort of accumulate while you're closed, and someone's going to pay that eventually. I mean, if you look at it, it's $112 billion that we put into the industry, into the economy every year. So that's 6.4% GDP. Paul Fletcher gave out $250 million, so that's 0.22%. That's our value. They valued us down to that. So it seems to me that we do need a little bit more government support, like you say. But I think the first thing we need to do is go to thezoo.com.au, buy your tickets, check out what these guys are doing, and make sure you get back out there. I mean, that's really the first thing, isn't it? Get people out there coming back to venues.
Yeah. Without ticket holders, we don't open our doors. So the music lovers are the ones that are the real supporters. And when we were closed, we ran, like, a little fundraiser, and people came and bought merch and, you know, pre-bought their beers, and that floated us. Having those couple $100 in the bank account, honestly, because things just get direct debited all the time, even though we tried to stop it. Like, it was just constant. So it's the ticket holders and the music lovers who are really, we'll never forget that. You know, we're gonna look back on this year. We will, and we'll make it through. But we're so grateful.
Well, from today, you can buy that beer and you can stand up while you're drinking it. So it's good news all around. Pixie, thank you so much for fitting me in. I know you've had an insane day today, but it was good to talk to you. It was good to hear your story. And everyone, get out there and support the zoo. Keep these venues alive. Pixie, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.